All around us, there are stories science won't touch. Questions buried deeper than truth itself. This is the Whisper Files. For over a century, astronomers have whispered about a ghost. Not a ghost of the dead, but a phantom planet. Something vast, invisible, pulling at the edges of our solar system. They call it Planet X. The name itself sounds like a cipher, a mystery waiting to be solved. But behind that simple letter X lies decades of obsession, denial, and silence. They found it. They found it once, and then they buried it. The story begins in the 1900s with a man named Percival Lowe. He was a wealthy astronomer, the kind who gazed at the stars and saw meaning where others saw math. Lowe believed, no, he was convinced that something massive was tugging on Uranus, settle down, and Neptune. Their orbits weren't quite right. The math didn't add up. Something unseen was pulling at him. Lowe spent years searching for the culprit, a planet beyond Neptune, hidden in the darkness. He died before he found it. But in 1930, his observatory, still searching, found a faint moving speck. They called it Pluto. For a moment, the world rejoiced. Planet X had been found, or so they thought. But then something strange happened. Pluto was far too small. Its mass couldn't possibly cause the orbital shifts Lowe had predicted. The mystery wasn't solved, it was deepened. Pluto was the distraction. Decades later, computers began to trace the orbits again, and the same anomalies remained. It was as if some invisible hand was still out there and still pulling. In the 1980s, NASA quietly launched a project to search for what they called trans-Neptunian objects. They found hundreds, small icy bodies scattered like breadcrumbs in the Kuiper Belt. But the pattern of their orbit suggests something more, a massive gravitational influence far beyond, something hiding behind the sun. At Caltech in 2016, two scientists, Konstantin Batygin and Mike Brown, published data that reignited the fire. Their models showed a massive planet, perhaps 10 times the size of Earth, lurking beyond the Kuiper Belt. It had to exist, they said. Its gravity was the only thing that could explain the strange, synchronized orbits of distant icy worlds. And yet, no telescope has ever seen it. The evidence is mathematical. The fear is universal. Because when science peers into the dark, sometimes the dark peers back. What if Planet X isn't new? What if humanity has seen it before and simply forgot? Across the deserts of the Mesopotamia lies the oldest records of civilization, the Sumerian tablets, cuneiform markings carved 5,000 years ago by people who claimed their gods came from the stars. Those tablets speak of a world called Nibiru, a planet that travels a long elliptical orbit, one that brings it close to Earth only once every few thousand years. The Sumerians called it the home of the Anunnaki, beings who descended when Nibiru passed close. They came when the sky was red. The scholar Zechariah Sitchin became infamous for his translations of these tablets. He claimed Nibiru was a real planet, the lost 12th planet of our solar system, and that the Anunnaki used Earth as a laboratory, creating humankind in their image to serve as miners for their gold. Absurd, the scientist said, but Sitchin pointed out something unsettling, that many ancient calendars and myths described long cycles of destruction, separated by thousands of years, floods, fires, and the fall of empires. Each one, he claimed, marked another return. And when you map those myths out along astronomical timelines, the numbers start to whisper. 3,600 years. Every 3,600 years, Nibiru returns, the planet of chaos whose passing reshapes worlds. The ancients called it the Destroyer, the winged disk, the planet of the crossing. It was said to blaze across the heavens like a second sun, fiery, red, and furious. In Egyptian myth, it became the Eye of Ra. In the Bible, it may have been wormwood, the star that fell and poisoned the waters. In every story, something comes from the sky. And each time, we begin all over again. Modern scientists dismiss that this is coincidence, pattern seeking, and myth. But in 1983, the whispers turned into headlines. See, that was the year NASA launched its infrared astronomical satellite. Its job was to scan the heavens in infrared, looking for faint heat signatures invisible to normal telescopes. And within months, it found something. A large, unknown object, roughly the size of Jupiter, far beyond Neptune, possibly near the edge of the solar system. The Washington Post ran the headlines: Mystery Heavenly Body Found Near Earth. But within days, the story vanished. NASA retracted the data. The scientists went silent. They saw it, then erased it. The official statement changed. It wasn't a planet, they said. It was a distant galaxy, a glitch, a misreading. Yet those who worked on the IRIS project remember things differently. Some say the coordinates were locked, the data classified. Others claim the object moved, proof it was within our system. Then came the blackout. No more talk of Planet X, no more headlines. Even the name itself was quietly retired. But people kept seeing things. Astronomers noticed the Kuiper Belt's strange alignment again. Amateur skywatchers claimed to photograph a faint red orb near the sun at sunset. Some say NASA's own solar observatories occasionally lose signal when pointed in that direction. Coincidence? Maybe. Or maybe something massive is passing between us and the void, and they don't want us to know about it. Around this time, the internet began to buzz with leaked documents, orbital charts, simulation maps, alleged restricted NASA memos. Most were hoaxes, but buried in the noise were patterns, calculations that lined up eerily well with ancient timelines. 3,600 year cycles, magnetic pole shifts, solar disturbances, mass extinctions, all neatly lining up in a row. And if those cycles are real, then Nibiru, Planet X, would be due to return soon. Sooner than they'll admit. Now, science tells us the solar system is stable, predictable, and eternal. But history tells another story, one of cataclysm. Every few thousand years, the Earth wobbles. The poles shift, climates collapse, species vanish, and civilizations fall. The Earth resets itself like a clock winding down. And clocks always strike at midnight. Some astrophysicists have quietly admitted if Planet X exists, it could be a rogue brown dwarf, a failed star orbiting the sun at a vast distance, with its own collection of moons and debris. Its passing could disrupt orbits, tilt the poles, even cause magnetic chaos. If such an object crossed into the inner solar system, even briefly, it could trigger earthquakes, volcanic eruptions, and gravitational surges unlike anything we've ever witnessed. And here's the part no one likes to say out loud. Some simulations predict such a crossing could occur within the next few centuries. Others within decades. The ancients called it the red sun. Imagine a faint point of light in the sky growing brighter each night. Astronomers dismiss it as lens flare. Governments say nothing, and then one morning the world wakes up to two suns, one real, one returning. When the sky turns red, it's already too late. Some believe Nibiru's passage doesn't destroy directly, it destabilizes. The gravitational pull distorts tides, shakes the crust, and floods coastlines. Solar storms intensify, technology fails, and in the chaos, the old stories rise again. Maybe that's why the ancients built megaliths, aligned with the stars. Maybe they weren't worshipping, maybe they were warning. We left messages for ourselves. Because what if Nibiru isn't just a planet? What if it's a cycle? A reset built into the cosmic machine? A storm that wipes the slate clean so life can begin again and again and again. Maybe that's why civilizations disappear with such precision. The Mayans, the Atlanteans, the ones before them, they didn't fall. They remembered, and when the red sun rose again, they stepped back into the darkness. Maybe they're still waiting there for us. They told us it wasn't real. They called it a myth. But myths have gravity. And when the sky begins to burn red, and when the oceans rise higher than memory, and the poles forget where home is, remember this. Planet X doesn't orbit our sun. It orbits our fear. And fear always comes back home. This has been the Whisper Files. Thank you for joining me. If you enjoyed it, make sure you like and subscribe and hit the notification bell so you know when I put out something new. Please share to anybody you think might enjoy it too. Also, check out some of our other channels and our other videos. Thanks. Have a great day.